My incredibly arrogant brother-in-law stood in the center of his sprawling estate's formal dining room, pointed his heavy crystal tumbler directly at my heavily stained work boots, and coldly sneered, "You are nothing but a bottom-feeding, dust-covered drywaller. Fix the sagging ceiling in my luxury guest house by tomorrow morning for free, or I will ensure my wife permanently cuts you out of the family trust and bans you from this property." He delivered this deeply calculated, life-altering ultimatum with a condescending, predatory smirk, perfectly playing the part of the undisputed financial patriarch who single-handedly controlled our entire family's destiny. He demanded I quietly provide heavily discounted, backbreaking manual labor to maintain his highly secretive, multi-million-dollar compound, treating me less like his brother-in-law and entirely like a pathetic indentured servant who should be incredibly grateful just to breathe the conditioned air inside his immaculate property. The entire sprawling dining room immediately descended into a suffocating, heavy silence. My sister, entirely dependent on his massive trust fund and completely manipulated by his relentless psychological conditioning, simply stared down at her expensive smartphone, completely refusing to defend her own flesh and blood. My extended family, who had spent the entire evening drinking his imported scotch and begging for free vacation stays at his properties, silently looked away, choosing to protect their own social standing rather than defend the blue-collar laborer who actually kept their homes from collapsing. I was the absolute pariah of my own family, the solitary worker, surrounded by a tight circle of self-appointed elites who firmly believed my calloused hands equated to a severe lack of intelligence. I felt entirely isolated, drowning in a manufactured social dynamic where my professional dignity was systematically erased. I knew with absolute certainty that if I raised my voice to defend my rightful place in that room, I would instantly be labeled as an unstable, jealous failure, attacking the generous patriarch. I did not argue with his calculated insult. I simply picked up my heavy canvas tool bag, gave him a hollow, obedient nod, and completely disappeared into the dark, cavernous guest house to handle the repairs. What my brother-in-law completely failed to realize, what none of my parasitic family knew because they were entirely too blinded by their own arrogance to ever ask about my actual career, was that I had not been a standard residential handyman for over a decade. Over the last 8 years, I had quietly secured elite, highly specialized federal credentials. I became a licensed technical surveillance countermeasure specialist and a master forensic structural auditor, heavily contracted by high-net-worth security firms and federal task forces to sweep luxury estates for hidden infrastructure anomalies and covert breaches. I was the invisible scalpel, slicing through the elaborate physical lies of desperate predators. While my brother-in-law was busy bragging at country clubs, I had become an absolute master of forensic architectural reconstruction, learning exactly how dangerous men manipulate residential blueprints to hide highly illegal, voyeuristic secrets. The trap snapped violently shut the exact moment I pushed up the acoustic tiles of the seemingly standard drop ceiling, directly above the guest bedroom's king-sized mattress. The heavy ceiling grid did not conceal standard HVAC ductwork or fiberglass insulation. It exposed a perfectly hollowed-out pitch-black void. Shining my tactical flashlight into the suffocating darkness, the horrifying, deeply psychotic reality instantly clicked in my brain. The void was a meticulously engineered, climate-controlled observation deck. Resting inside this dark, padded crawl space was a high-end recording rig, a mattress pad, and a massive panel of two-way observation glass that had been disguised as a decorative skylight from below. My brother-in-law wasn't a real estate genius. He was a highly calculated predator operating a subterranean-style surveillance suite, right above the heads of his sleeping guests, many of whom were our own female relatives. I rapidly captured the thermal telemetry and high-definition video of the parasite's nest, extracted the master hard drives, and marched directly back to the main house. He was still sitting at the head of the dining table, arrogantly demanding to know if I had finished the grunt work. His triumphant smile instantly vanished when I dropped the heavy, encrypted hard drive directly onto his expensive glass table. I did not yell. I simply slid my secure diagnostic tablet across the glass, displaying the live footage of his secret observation deck, alongside the confirmed dispatch signal of a federal cybercrimes task force. All the color instantly drained from his face, leaving him pale, stuttering, and physically shaking as he realized his pristine, impenetrable empire had just been entirely dismantled by the dust-covered drywaller he had humiliated hours ago. I did not wait around to listen to his desperate, frantic excuses, nor did I entertain his pathetic attempts to bribe me with his massive investment portfolio. I calmly packed up my specialized diagnostic gear, walked out the heavy oak doors without looking back, and left him standing completely alone in the rapidly collapsing ruins of his own manufactured deception. By the time I reached the main gate, a fleet of federal tactical vehicles was already surging up the private driveway to breach the guest house and seize his servers. By the end of the week, his assets were entirely frozen, his properties were dismantled for evidence, and my sister was completely cut off from the blood money she had chosen over me. Watching his fake elite kingdom crumble into dust under the heavy weight of the absolute truth was incredibly satisfying. But I have to ask you, was I the jerk for completely destroying his life without a single warning, or did he entirely deserve everything coming to him? Drop your verdict in the comments, like, comment, and subscribe.